do you charm a python when you are not ready? You see, my name is Ben Onuorah, and I'm a PhD candidate at Lagos State University, where I'm studying ICT education. I specialize in artificial intelligence. But my journey did not just start that way. It started about 20 years ago in this IT field. Uh, I'm a fine artist. I draw, I paint, and that remains my first love even till now. However, a lot of things happened, and that's why I said we all have a rough start. Nothing comes so easy. We are never ready. Nobody is 100% ready. So I'm a fine artist, a software and machine learning engineer, and we can see my web address. So when we talk about being ready, I said, are we ever ready or are we ever fully ready to take any step? One thing that the art has taught me is that we are never 100% ready to start anything. Is that you are 20%, you are 50%. So what I often do as an artist, virtually all the artworks here were my drawings, is that we start anyway, even though when we are not motivated, we start anyway. We put some painting on the canvas and, with time, as we progress, the path review itself, and we make some mistake and we learn. But if you're expecting to get inspiration before you start, you are not going to get it. I'm going to tell you the truth. You can't get inspiration before you start. It's actually when you start that the inspiration comes and you make good memories. And above all, you always arrive somewhere better than where you started from. So that's the first word of encouragement I'm going to give us. Don't wait until you have inspiration before you start on this journey or any other journey. You start first. Even when sometimes I'm tired, I don't even feel like writing any program. But because I have a deadline to meet and I need to work, I just put on the system, get started. So, as I say, while growing up, I always loved the art. I paint, I sculpt. But after completing my high school, secondary school, I noticed that computers are becoming quite popular. You do some, I saw a lady doing some designs there. So I want to do something like that. I'm not from the tech background, so it actually captured my attention that what an artist would have taken a long time to do. Somebody with a computer would just do some magic and something comes up. So I wanted to do the same. So that was actually what brought me to the IT field. That was 2004. So before then, I picked up my first job introduced me to QBasic, and I started like that. And while coming, I have to learn some few other language, by the way. So actually, my next job, I become a computer instructor. So that's why I've seen students struggle. When we come to an event like this, everybody behave as if we are all tech experts. We want to prove, but the truth is that we may not know that. Personally, I know that most of us are actually struggling to even understand what is this LLM they are talking over our head and what have you. So it is normal. It's normal. Don't feel left out. You are not actually an outlier in IT. So over the years, I keep growing from what I have on this. I explain some of the challenges I have and some of my background, which you can already see on my website. So since 2008, I actually remain a freelance developer since then, and I've learned some other language, get certified and grown. But that is not all. The challenges with the language I used then was, I used a lot of PHP then, quite all right, and it's all good and nice. PHP, just like some of this language, actually gives you a very good startup to build web application, backend, and so on. So I've used it for quite a number of years. But later on, I have personally as a fine artist, I love experimenting with materials. I don't want to just build web and stop there. Can I be able to do something else with this thing I've learned? So that is actually what I say. Motivation comes when you start. What else can we do with it? So after looking at, because the only option I have, can I build mobile app with it? Can I build a game with it? Can I do something? Can I automate? And so on and so forth. So this actually makes me to look at which other language that is close to the PHP I'm already used to. Simple and versatile, so that I can do more than just web. That was when I stumbled into Python quite early on. It looked very promising, but I've already invested in .NET, invested in Java, and so on. So what do I do from here? I say, I'm not ready for this. After all, I'm still making money from my PHP code. And I continue. However, something happened like 3 or 4 years ago. I gained admission to study to do my PhD in ICT education, specializing in AI. Then it dawned on me that there is actually no way out other than to face this Python, because that is actually the language of AI. Basically, if you want to do AI, practical AI, building a model, you have to actually have that knowledge. So that was actually what made me to settle down with the language like 4 years ago or so. So what has happened ever since then? As I said, my background helped me because I have some basic. But what I'm trying to make us understand today is that it is always difficult. You will never be ready to take any step. Especially in the programming, in the IT, you will never be 100% ready. When you think you have the time, you may not have the resources. You may not have, they may tell you the computer you need to run this, you need so configuration, and all you have is just your mobile phone. What do you do? And when you think you actually have the time, you may not have the money. They may say, the cost of the training is 500,000. What do you do? So what I'm trying to say is that start from the ground up. Don't wait until you have everything. You can never do that. You will never. You will never. Every program, most of us are graduates. There is no student that actually starts school here in Nigeria that have all the school fees 100% ready. From 100 to 400, it's not possible, except your parents are. So what have I done with the project? Ever since I moved into, I started looking at Python, I actually caught my interest that one, it is very flexible. You don't need a very big machine to run with Python. Just with your download the IDE, python.org. It's free. Virtually any major system, basic normal system will run that. So I got started and caught my interest that after my learning, I learned the basic. You learn the basic, then pick up any project you love. Some of the mistakes we do is that we want to make sure we finish learning. As I say, you can never finish or be ready. Once you've learned the basic, pick up a project that you love. So I pick up, after learning the basic, the statement, the variables, and so on, I pick up a web application because I know that I already have some background in that area. So you pick up something that you have interest in first. Then, this is what I built. I built a school portal using a Flask framework. That's one of the framework, Python web application framework, very light and easy to learn. So personally, I actually started with that. So I use SQLite database. So I built this, and I think I shared the web address there for us to see. So we can always check that. Let's see what it looks like. Register and play around with it. As I said, when you want to learn, build stuff. Don't just learn for learning's sake. Learn because you want to build something. And don't stay you probably spend 2 months learning the basic in school. But after that 2 months or 3 months, start something. No matter how small, start something. So when I built this, the motivation was there, and I learned quite a lot. I learned that this framework is actually very minimal. You don't need a lot of, and how do I actually deploy or host this web application after learning? Another challenge came because I started something. There are a lot of free hosting platforms for Python. Python Anywhere is there. It's the one that is actually hosting the one they are using for Py, right? But your client may already have a cPanel like the one I have. I'm very surprised that Python, you have set up Python app there. It's also there. So it's just everywhere. So web application is actually something that, because most of the other application you build, you have to deploy it either to the web or to the mobile app. So you learn how to build web application can be a very good leverage. So I also built some other interesting machine learning. I built this email phishing detection software using scikit-learn, one of the framework for library for machine learning. Scikit-learn, then again, you have to be on the web application. This is actually a student project that I work with the students. And we can see the process of building a typical machine learning solution. From you knowing the library to use, scikit-learn is quite light. So I think most starters can easily use that. We have TensorFlow, and so build something. I've been building something ever since I started learning. Then I got my data sets from Cargo again because you started. After getting them, I learned what are the process You have to do some pre-process, click on the data. As the last speaker said, your model is as good as the data used in training. You have to do, so these are some of the things you can easily learn better when you are applying it or building something there. I learned why do we have to even split the data for Christ's sake? So I learned that we have to split it. Probably most time the training should be more than the testing. 70% or training. Because when you are teaching a child, it takes more time. You need more effort to teach a child. But when it comes to test, you can actually teach a child from the beginning of a semester or a term to the end, only to do just 15-minute test. So please, these are some of the things I want also. The steps I literally listed out. And when you are done with the model, what do you do? Most of the time, we look, the Python environment is just console. You see some code. When you finish, there's a way you have to package it and take it to either the mobile environment or the web application. So these are some of the things I learned when I do this model. So it's able to detect any phishing mail. You will flag it as phishing or non-phishing. So the code, I can easily share with some of anybody interested in the code. Then somebody met me along the way. They need a chatbot. This time around, they are not looking at a typical, they want something free, something that will be in full control of. So that's National Open University, some of the professors we met. As I say, when you start, you see, that's when you can really get inspiration and you realize that there's a lot that you can do with Python. So there is this, after trying a lot of framework for chatbot, we started with Chatterbot, very interesting chatbot library there. So, and it's functioning now. So some of these professors we work together, I'm hoping that it scaled through the proposal so that you can actually get a larger, it can be deployed to the National Open University from the higher level. So these are some of the projects that we worked on. Again, from the web, this is a desktop application, a computer-based testing system, which I built also. Tkinter is a very interesting, small desktop-based library that you can use to build a desktop application. Not everybody wants a web application. There will be some problem. This person actually wants a desktop application for a reason best known to them. Again, because Python, that versatility make me to be able to move from web, machine learning, desktop, and so on. So very interesting application as well. Then the last one here is my PhD thesis, as I said. It was the PhD study that actually brought me to Python. That actually made me to make that decision. For a long time, I keep thinking, I'll learn it later. But knowing fully well that I'm doing a PhD in ICT, majoring in artificial intelligence, it will be a slap on my face that when I'm done, I only come out with a degree, a PhD for that matter, without nothing, no practical solution. So we should start talking about what is our contribution to the tech field, not we analyzing, or we should appreciate what they've done, quite all right. But it's time that we start building our own. So this model is the one in a couple of months I should be doing my Viva, which is the last defense for a PhD course. And this is actually the selling point of my doctoral degree. This model actually using the Open Computer Vision, another Python library again. So what it does is that, you have a CBT program now that automatically will grade the student and we know if you pass or you fail. But what happens with drawings? As I told you, my background is in the art, so I'm bringing that to the science again. So the model actually presents you, the student, with a drawing, and they ask you to make this drawing. When you finish, we upload. Then the model actually compare and merge and compare and grade the drawing based on what the algorithm, that's what the Open Computer Vision framework actually helps us to achieve. So it automatically actually grade a student drawing without no lecturer being there. So that's which is very good in the art as well as in the science. So biological drawings, you can see some of the grading that was done there. So these are some of the projects that have been in a couple of 3 to 4 years anyway. So in conclusion, I would say you may not know where that journey you are afraid of may lead you to. But if you decide to take the first step, then go with an open mind to learn, build what you love, and have fun. While you are learning, try to have fun with it. So thank you very much. I hope I've been able to actually inspire or motivate 1 or 2 people. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. So, any questions? All right, we have someone that has a question.
Sorry, I hope I'm not speaking too fast. Okay.
Okay, thanks for the presentation. So I have a question related not from a student perspective, but more from an instructor perspective. So for someone with students who are like coming from non-technical background like yourself, I mean, I think you've experienced it and you're also in that field. I mean, from your introduction, you mentioned that you're an instructor, right? So, how would you handle a situation where the student is coming from a very non-technical background? So, you are trying to teach these students variables, I mean, data types, I mean, all those jargons. And to them, they are still trying to, understand what are these things? They are telling me about Gits. They are still, I mean, trying to catch up with all those new terminologies. How would you, and for you as an instructor, it can really be frustrating because you're like, I mean, I just explained Git to you. How come you still don't understand it? I just explained variable. So how would you handle such student? Like what's I know educators, they have different ways of different materials to teach, right? They are trained educators. But nowadays, we are tech people and we are training people. I mean, we are not academic trainers. So, how would you handle such students?
Okay, thank you very much. I think from my background as an educator, one thing I've learned so far is that you being good technically doesn't make you a great teacher. Should I repeat that? You being good technically doesn't make you a great teacher. At a point, NUC have to enforce it that all the professors should go back and get postgraduate degree and postgraduate diploma in education at a point, even though you're a professor of mathematics, because they want to see, do you know the theory of education? Do you know educational psychology? So, from my point of view, to answer your question, when you have a curriculum that is stated that listed what you have to teach your students, try to understand the students individually. In research, now even though my study and my supervisor keep me asking, whenever you are doing a quantitative analysis, do a qualitative one, that is, ask them personally what are their preferences. So if you're having such challenges in teaching that technical time, relate it to something they're already used to. Don't teach them variable because you want to teach them variable. Teach them variable because you want to see, you want them to understand that you can actually use it to hold a value because they like drawing. Can I use that variable or that programming to explain to them how you can relate it to the art? If you can use to create a small shape using there's a library for Python that you can use, Pygame. Use it to create shape. Let them see that you can actually use this programming to create shape and to simulate a bouncing ball. That can actually capture their interest. So that applies to everybody. That's why programming like mathematics become difficult. My supervisor now, distinguished Professor Peter K. Bukola, make it mandatory that anybody you are teaching, know the student one-on-one and make sure that you use a conceptual example that they can relate with. Don't teach them using an example that they can only get in UK, in Europe. They don't know what snow looks like. Teach them with what they can see in the classroom, what they have at home, their personal talent. So that's my answer to that. Use an example that is personally related to them. If you want a fine artist to enjoy programming, let him see that he can actually create a drawing with it. He can make a game with it. He can make animation with it. Then program will become interesting. Not just because what is variable? Variable is nothing. Loop is nothing. Array is nothing. List is nothing. Except you relate it to something that they can actually see or use. Then it becomes fun. I don't know if that answers your question. Thank you. Okay.
All right, someone.
Thank you very much, sir, for the talk. So when you started, you said something like, we don't need to be ready before we start, and that we don't need inspiration. So my question is, can we really excel in tech without inspiration or some form of passion for what
Okay.
we are doing?
Thank you very much. I've been in tech for this year, actually make it 20 years. And more than half of it, I've not worked with, since 2008 from my slide, I've been self-employed. I wake up, nobody will ask me to do anything. But a client will be on my neck asking me, there's a deadline. So what I'm trying to say is that you cannot be fully 100% ready. That doesn't mean you are not you have some level of readiness, but if you are waiting until you have the best laptop, the best time, the best instructor, the best this before you start, you may just never start. You just may never start. I've gone through that stage before. Before, we don't even use the laptop when we start. We have desktop, only desktop, and I don't personally have one at home. It's where I actually went to teach, where they pay me like 4,000 naira per month. That is where I use this desktop to learn. So you cannot actually have everything before you start. For inspiration is very, very important. Very useful in learning. However, if you're expecting inspiration to come from outside before you learn, you may not just start. Most of my day doesn't come with a very interesting, I drink coffee. Who is going to make the coffee for me? I enter, this place is well lit. I come in, the system, everything, there is internet, there is light. I work from my studio. I have to provide my light. The internet is on me. So the inspiration is good, but let's it be self-motivated. And the easiest way for you to self-motivated is to start. When you start it, later on I think I'm getting this. It's fun. It will flow, but don't wait until you are fully ready. If you are waiting for that, you just may never start. And that is actually what is stopping a lot of learners. That drive to the first step is what we have. That's where we have most of our challenges, taking the first step. My advice starts with what you have. Thank you. Okay.
Well, sir, just a quick one.
Okay.
To me, the first step is not actually where the challenge is.
Okay.
Because when I started learning the basics, it was quite very, very interesting. In fact,
When you start learning,
the basics of Python.
Okay.
It was very, very interesting. In fact, I loved it. So when in the middle, I started seeing algorithms, I started seeing it was no longer straight again. So at that point, I just lost some motivation.
Yes.
So I had to go to some videos to start picking up motivational quotes so that this I'll be gingered.
Did it work?
Eh?
Did the quote work?
Well, I don't know what to say. I was going front and back.
But
So
did that really work?
well, not 100%, not 100%.
Okay.
But some actually worked in the sense that they were like do some projects, just start, even though you have not finished all the basics, just start from there, things like that.
That's the point with learning. Programming itself is an art and a science. Personally, to me, I see it as an art and a science. When you are having challenges with learning, understanding some concepts, ask yourself, have you learned the basic? Why not look for something that interests you? I actually like building web applications because it actually interests me. It doesn't need all those complex algorithms. You will be very surprised with what you can tackle in a very small time if at all you are very passionate about the problem you want to solve. I have to work with some students that are building machine learning in UK, and sometimes when they send me their report and I say, what is, because I don't understand I don't even have an idea of the concept, but because I actually try to see from their point of view. And when I fall in love with what they want to build, I never know what Chatterbot could do, LangChain, Open Computer Vision, but because I want to compare a drawing, so I want to grade a drawing for my thesis, so I know that I must solve this problem. That pushed me I didn't just start with the open, I tried many, and they failed. They keep failing until I stopped with one. Oh, this one worked. So that motivation comes when you have something that you are passionate that you want to solve. The problem that most of us have in tech when we are starting is that there is nothing, probably the instructor did not let us understand that we need to have a project that we love to build. That's the biggest or the highest motivation you can get as a student. Because to me, code can be very, very frustrating. Code can be cold. Let me use that word. But for you to give it life, do something you love. You understand me now? So that is what I think you need to do. Look for something you love. I like my students to build a small web application with it. Build your portfolio. Let us see. Let us see what your portfolio look like. By the time they could put a picture there, oh, it's working. Oh, I can do a drop down. Interesting. I can submit a form and it will go to be stored in database. Then they will know. That's when they need to understand what loop is. Because without loop, you can't see those data. Well, after going to the database, you need to loop through the record. Then the loop makes sense. Without you, when you want to log, you need to make some decision. Is it a valid user or not? If else, then the if statement makes a lot of sense. I don't know if you understand me. In gaming, you need to check what is this sprite is going to collide with the next one. When it collides, what happened? Then the if statement makes sense. I don't know if I'm making it. So that's what I think we should look at. Look for a problem, no matter how it may be useless to everybody, but if it's useful to you, build with. Just work on it. You'll be surprised that you learn more than any textbook must have taught you in one class. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Okay, my question is, maybe someone studied international relations for his degree course, a non-tech related course. So, and the person has now dived into tech. And the person wants to do masters in a tech related course. So how do you think this person can actually go about that? And my second question is, I've met someone that's said that he knows about front end, back end, graphic designing. So my question is, can a person be jack of all trades and master of all in tech?
Okay, thank you. First, let's look at the degree aspect of it. When you have a background in another field, let me say art, you have to know that in Nigeria, we have our system of education, how it works. Most of the time, they may say, if after it's still science, they may say, do a postgraduate diploma so that I can cross to the field of IT. However, there are some, they call it terminal or professional master's degree. I have one from Lautech, masters in IT. You can also look at that. Some of them may actually have some rules that may allow you to cross over easily. But if you look at outside the country online, then that become more flexible. Some of them may actually expect you to prove that, oh, you actually have some knowledge of IT, then you can easily cross over. I don't know if that answers your question. Then the second question, just remind me a little. Let me see if I can. Okay. Yes. Very interesting. Jack of all trade has been an issue in tech, just like every other field. I don't see any problem with you learning more than one skill. But my problem is that do you actually understand or have mastered one before you move to the other? In tech, it's quite common for you to somebody that knows virtually 25 stack. I know Laravel, I know this, I know that. You will just be surprised that there know almost 20. But I often ask, what have you done with it? So I know art, I can draw, I know graphic, but before I could move from one to the other, I must have spent at least 3 to 4 years in one before I move to the other. Because the challenge you may have in tech is that everything is looking promising, it's shiny. You want to learn this and move. Don't do that. Pick one, stay with it at least 4 years. Master it, build something with it. Something that somebody is actually using before you move to something else. So that you don't come up with, oh, I know 10, but I've done nothing with it. So being knowledgeable in more than one skill is a very interesting. Personally, I'm knowledgeable up to 3 or 4. But make sure that when somebody tests you in any of them, you can actually stand the test of time. So that's my answer to that question. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So let's give a round of applause for him once again.
Somebody have a question there.
Oh.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask, when do you know that you can move to another, like you can move on to learn something else? When do you know that you're fit, you're grounded enough in one to move to another one?
Okay, thank you very much. Let me look at myself as an example. You cannot be 100% ready to move to the next one. That's just the fact. However, I always give myself some timeline before I move to something else. I say, okay, between 3 to 5 years. I'm not just counting time. That time will be full of learning, building project, and making sure at least 1 to 10 people are using that product. Maybe 1 to 5, let me say. Let me be moderate. Let people use that product and make sure that you get feedback from them. That is only when you can be certain. You know, many challenges we have in tech. Somebody want to build and had all the features. It doesn't work. Build the first product, get it. You'll be surprised that a lot of things you think may work may not work when you get to the field. So stick with that first. Master it. Make sure somebody is using it. Get a feedback. At least give yourself time to learn and do something useful with it before you move. But for myself, I give myself at least 3 to 5 years. I must have done something with it. If I have not done, then I don't simply move. I don't move. And if I have to move, I must make sure I remove that from my CV. I don't want to be in a story, I know this, I know that. And you can't defend it. Let us be serious with anything. People are watching. People are watching. While I was doing my PhD, one of the seniors, he just called me, Ben, I have one friend in UK, he's doing master in artificial intelligence, he needs you to help him to do this. I say, sir. He said, yes, his project is on so, and before I know it, they start communicating with me. Just imagine I've listed that in my CV and I know this, and somebody reached me and I flopped. So I built that. After defending his master, I actually have a distinction. So I was happy. He gave me confidence. He also gave him confidence. He networked me to more. Like 3 of. I'm actually still handling for something now. So please build something. There is no crime if you know just one tech. There is no crime if your stack is just one. But be the master of it first. It's not a crime that you must live and have up to 4 or 5. But if you must have anything on your CV, make sure you can defend it anywhere. Anywhere. If you are in China, defend it. If you are in UK, defend it, because nobody cares the color of your skin. It's what you can do. Thank you very much.
Okay, that was really wonderful from Mr. Ben.